The envelope sat on my desk for 3 days before I opened it. Estate of Robert and Margaret Chen, printed in formal letters, from a law firm I'd never heard of, addressed to me at my office. My parents had been dead for 2 weeks. I didn't know until their lawyer found me. We hadn't spoken in 10 years. A full decade of silence. They'd made it clear I wasn't their daughter anymore. So why would they contact me now? Why would their lawyer track me down? I finally opened the envelope, started reading their will, got to page 3, and I burst out laughing. Because after 10 years of disowning me, of pretending I didn't exist, of cutting me out of their lives completely, they left me everything. The house, the business, the investments, all of it. But that wasn't the shocking part. The shocking part was why, and what they'd been hiding from my brother all these years. If you've ever been disowned by your family, stay with me until the end. This story gets wild. Hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments. Have you ever had a family member cut you off completely? Your support means everything to me. Now let me tell you how this all started. My name is Alice Chen. I'm 35 years old now, but this story starts when I was 25. I grew up in San Francisco, traditional Chinese-American family. My parents immigrated from Taiwan in the 1980s, built a successful import-export business, worked 16-hour days to give us everything. My older brother Kevin was the golden child, went to Stanford, became a doctor, married a nice Chinese girl from a good family, had 2 kids, did everything right. I was different. I went to Berkeley, studied sociology, wanted to work in nonprofit, help immigrant communities, do something meaningful beyond making money. My parents tolerated this. Barely, but they figured I'd grow out of it, get a real job eventually, marry someone appropriate, fall in line. Then I met James at a community organizing event. He was black, a civil rights lawyer, brilliant, passionate, fighting for justice every day. I fell in love with him immediately. He was everything I'd ever wanted. Someone who cared about the same things I did. Someone who saw me for who I really was. I brought him home to meet my parents in November 2013. I was 25, excited, hopeful, naive. My mother took one look at James and her face went cold. My father wouldn't even shake his hand. Dinner was excruciating. They spoke to each other in Mandarin, ignored James completely. When he tried to make conversation, they gave one-word answers. After he left, my mother cornered me in the kitchen. "You cannot date this man." "What? Why not?" "He's black, Alice. We didn't raise you to date black men." I felt like I'd been slapped. "That's racist, Mom. It's traditional. It's our culture. Chinese marry Chinese. That's how it's done." "I love him." "You're 25. You don't know what love is. This is a phase, an embarrassment. End it." "I'm not ending it. He's amazing. He's kind and smart and he's not Chinese. That's all that matters. Your father and I forbid this relationship." "You can't forbid me. I'm an adult." My father came into the kitchen. "If you continue seeing this man, you are no longer our daughter." The words hung in the air. Cold. Final. "You don't mean that. I mean exactly that. You choose him. You choose to leave this family. No more support. No more contact. You will be dead to us." I looked at my mother, waited for her to contradict him, to soften it. She just looked away. "So that's it? I date someone you don't approve of and you disown me?" "We raised you better than this," my mother said. "We gave you everything. And this is how you repay us? By bringing shame to our family?" "Shame? He's a civil rights lawyer. He went to Harvard Law. He's incredible." "He's not Chinese. Nothing else matters." I felt tears burning. "So you're really doing this? You're really giving me an ultimatum?" My father's voice was ice. "Choose, him or family. You cannot have both." I thought about James, about how he made me feel seen, valued, loved for exactly who I was, about how he challenged me to be better, to fight for what I believed in. Then I thought about my parents, about years of trying to fit into a mold that was never made for me, of conditional love, of impossible standards. "I choose James." My mother gasped. My father's face went hard. "Then you are not our daughter. Get out of this house. Don't come back." "Dad, get Out! I grabbed my purse, walked to the door, turned back one more time. You're really doing this? You made your choice, my father said. Live with it. I walked out, drove to James's apartment, cried in his arms for hours. That was December 2013. I never spoke to my parents again. Kevin called me the next day. Alice, what the hell happened? Mom and Dad are saying you're dead to them. They gave me an ultimatum. James or family. I chose James. Are you insane? You're throwing away your family for some guy you've known for what, 6 months? He's not some guy. I love him. You barely know him. And he's black, Alice. Come on. You know how Mom and Dad are about this stuff. Yeah, I know. They're racist. They're traditional. There's a difference. No, Kevin, there's really not. They're judging him entirely on his race. That's racism. You're being dramatic. Just break up with this guy. Come back. Apologize. Everything will go back to normal. I'm not breaking up with him, and I'm not apologizing for falling in love with someone who treats me like an actual person instead of a trophy daughter. So you're really doing this? You're really choosing him over your own family? They chose, not me. They're the ones who made it an either-or situation. Kevin was quiet for a moment. I can't support this, Alice. I can't go against Mom and Dad. I have to side with them. Of course you do. You always do. Don't call me again. Don't come to family events. You made your choice. Deal with the consequences. He hung up. Just like that, I lost my entire family. Parents, brother, aunts and uncles who sided with my parents, cousins who were told not to contact me. Everyone. James felt terrible. I never wanted to come between you and your family. You didn't. They did. They chose racism over their own daughter. That's on them, not you. Are you sure you want to do this? We can take a break. Let things cool down. Maybe they'll come around. I don't want to be with people who'll only accept me if I conform to their prejudices. I want to be with you. That's my choice. And I'm making it freely. We got married 8 months later. Small ceremony, just friends. James's family, who welcomed me with open arms. No one from my side showed up because no one was invited. I sent my parents a wedding announcement. They never responded. The first year was hard. Holidays without family, birthdays with no calls, wondering if I'd made the right choice, if love was worth this much loss. But James and I built something beautiful, a partnership based on mutual respect. Shared values. Real love, not conditional acceptance. I got a job at a nonprofit helping immigrant families navigate legal systems. The pay was terrible, $35,000 a year, but the work was meaningful. James worked at a civil rights organization. Between us, we made enough to rent a small apartment. Live simply. Be happy. Year 3, I got promoted. Started running programs. My salary increased to $50,000. We moved to a better apartment. Year 5, I was recruited by a major foundation to run their immigrant justice initiative. Salary, $85,000. Suddenly we had stability, savings, a future. Year 7, I became director of the entire program, overseeing grants to organizations across California. Salary, $120,000. We bought a small house in Oakland. Year 8, our program won national recognition. I was invited to speak at conferences, testify before Congress. My work was making real impact. Year 9, I was offered a position as executive director of a national immigrant rights organization. Salary, $180,000. It was more money than I'd ever imagined making in nonprofit work. James made partner at his firm. Between us, we were doing well, really well, better than I ever could have imagined. I thought about my parents sometimes, wondered if they knew about my success, wondered if they regretted disowning me, wondered if they ever thought about reaching out. But 10 years passed without a word, not a single call, not a letter, nothing. I made peace with it, built a life without them, found family and friends, in James's relatives, in the communities I served. Then 2 months ago, the envelope arrived. I stared at it for days. Estate of Robert and Margaret Chen. My assistant Maria noticed. You okay, Alice? You've been staring at that envelope for like an hour. It's from my parents' lawyer. Your parents? I thought you weren't in contact. I'm not. Haven't been for 10 years. So why would their lawyer be contacting you? That's what I'm afraid to find out. I finally opened it on a Friday evening, after everyone had gone home, alone in my office. Inside was a letter from an attorney named Douglas Huang. Dear Ms. Alice, I regret to inform you of the passing of Robert and Margaret Chen on March 15, 2024. As executor of their estate, I am required by law to notify all beneficiaries named in their will. You are requested to attend the reading of the will on April 2, 2024, at our offices. Please contact our office to confirm your attendance. My parents were dead, had been dead for 2 weeks, and I had no idea. I felt nothing, then everything. Grief, anger, regret, relief. A decade of suppressed emotions hitting all at once. I called James. My parents died. What? When? 2 weeks ago. Car accident. I just got a letter from their lawyer. Oh my God, Alice. Are you okay? I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to feel. They disowned me 10 years ago. Am I supposed to grieve? Be sad? I don't even know. You're allowed to feel however you feel. There's no right way to process this. The lawyer wants me to attend the will reading. I'm apparently a beneficiary. Do you want to go? I don't know. Part of me wants to skip it. Let Kevin deal with everything. I haven't been their daughter for 10 years. Why start now? But another part of you is curious? Yeah, I guess I am. I called the lawyer's office, confirmed I'd attend the reading. April 2nd came. I drove to the law office in San Francisco, a place I'd never been. For parents I hadn't spoken to in a decade. Kevin was already there, sitting in the waiting room. He looked up when I walked in. His face went cold. What are you doing here? I was invited. I'm a beneficiary, apparently. You shouldn't be here. You're not family. The lawyer seems to disagree. You walked away 10 years ago. You don't get to show up now and claim anything. Before I could respond, the lawyer appeared. Douglas Huang, late 50s, kind eyes. Ms. Chen? Mr. Chen? Please come in. We followed him to a conference room, sat on opposite sides of the table, didn't look at each other. Douglas opened a folder. Thank you both for coming. I know this is difficult. I'll try to make this as quick and painless as possible. He pulled out the will, started reading the standard legal language, then got to the specific bequests. To my son Kevin, I leave my personal effects, family photographs, and the sum of $50,000. Kevin's face went red. 50,000? That's it? Douglas continued reading. The remainder of my estate, including the family home, the business Chen Import-Export, all investment accounts, and all remaining assets, I leave to my daughter Alice. The room went silent. Kevin exploded. What? That's impossible! She's been disowned. She's not even family. Douglas calmly turned to page 3, handed us each a copy. There's a letter here, from your parents, addressed to both of you. I started reading. And that's when I burst out laughing. The letter was in my father's handwriting, dated 6 months before he died. To Kevin and Alice, if you are reading this, your mother and I are gone. Kevin, I imagine you are angry right now, confused about why Alice has inherited the majority of our estate. Let me explain. 10 years ago, we gave Alice an ultimatum. We told her she had to choose between James and our family. We were wrong, deeply, shamefully wrong. We let our prejudice, our pride, and our fear control us. We let traditional thinking override our love for our daughter. We made a terrible mistake. After Alice left, we told ourselves we had done the right thing, that she would come crawling back, that she would realize her mistake. We waited for her to apologize. She never did. Instead, we watched from a distance as she built an incredible life. We saw her wedding announcement. We tracked her career online. We read about her awards, her promotions, her success. We saw her testify before Congress on immigrant rights. We read interviews where she talked about her work. We saw photos of her and James, clearly happy, clearly in love. And we realized we had been fools. We had disowned a daughter who was more successful, more principled, and more courageous than we ever gave her credit for. We had rejected her for loving someone who, by all accounts, was an exceptional man. We had let racism destroy our family. Your mother and I discussed reaching out many times, but pride stopped us, shame stopped us. How do you apologize for 10 years of silence? How do you ask forgiveness for such a fundamental betrayal? We never found the courage while we were alive, so we are trying to make amends now in the only way we can. Kevin, you have been a good son. You followed our path, made us proud in traditional ways. We have supported you throughout your life. We paid for your education, helped with your house, funded your children's education. You have received our support continuously. Alice received nothing from us for 10 years. She built her success entirely on her own, without family money, without family connections, without our help. This inheritance is not a punishment to you, Kevin. It is an attempt to give Alice what we should have given her all along: support, recognition, and love. The business is hers. The house is hers. She can sell them, keep them, do whatever she wishes. We trust her judgment in ways we failed to trust it when she was 25. To Alice, if you are reading this, we are sorry, so deeply sorry. We were wrong about James, wrong about your choices, wrong to make you choose. You were braver than we were, more loving, more principled. We hope this inheritance shows you that we recognized our mistake, even if we were too cowardly to say it while we were alive. We were proud of you, always. We just didn't know how to admit we were wrong. We hope you can forgive us, even though we don't deserve it. With love and regret, Mom and Dad. I set the letter down, tears streaming down my face, laughing and crying at the same time, because it was so typical, so perfectly them, too proud to apologize while alive, but trying to make it right through money, through an inheritance, through this formal legal acknowledgement that they'd been wrong. Kevin was not laughing. This is bullshit. They left you everything because you cut them off? Because you chose some guy over family? That's rewarded? They left me everything because they realized they were wrong, Kevin. Read the letter. I read it. It's garbage. You don't get to abandon your family and then get rewarded for it. I didn't abandon them. They disowned me. There's a difference. Douglas cleared his throat. Mr. Chen, the will is legally binding. Your parents were of sound mind when they wrote it. There are no grounds for contest. I'll find grounds. I'll fight this. No way is she getting everything while I get $50,000. You can try, Douglas said calmly, but I should mention that your parents anticipated this possibility. There's a clause stating that if you contest the will, your $50,000 bequest is revoked entirely. You'll get nothing. Kevin stood up, threw his copy of the will on the table. This is insane. They're insane. And you? He pointed at me. You don't deserve any of this. He stormed out, slammed the door. Douglas looked at me sympathetically. Are you all right? I wiped my tears. Yeah, actually I am. It's a lot. But I'm okay. Your parents were very specific in their instructions. They wanted you to have everything. They felt they owed you this. How much is everything? He pulled out a financial statement. The house is worth approximately $2.1 million. The business is valued at $3.5 million. Investment accounts total $1.8 million. Various other assets bring the total estate to roughly $7.8 million. I nearly fell out of my chair. $7.8 million? Yes. After taxes and fees, you'll inherit approximately $6.2 million. Plus the business, which generates about $400,000 in annual profit. My parents had left me over $6 million and a profitable business, everything they'd built. There's one more thing, Douglas said. He pulled out a small box. Your mother wanted you to have this specifically. I opened it. Inside was a jade bracelet. Her jade bracelet. the one her mother had given her, the one she'd promised me when I was a little girl. A note was tucked inside. For Alice, you were always meant to have this. I'm sorry I waited so long to give it to you. Wear it and remember that I loved you, even when I was too proud to show it. Mom. I burst into tears, full, ugly sobbing, for the parents I'd lost, for the 10 years we'd wasted, for the apology that came too late, but also for the recognition, the acknowledgement that I'd been right, that my choices had been valid, that I'd built something beautiful, even without their support. I drove home in a daze, walked into my house, found James cooking dinner. How did it go? I just handed him the will, the letter, watched his face as he read. Holy shit, Alice. Yeah. They left you everything. Yeah. And they apologized. In their way. Yeah. He pulled me into his arms. How are you feeling? I don't know. Vindicated? Sad? Angry that they waited until they were dead to say this? Relieved that they finally acknowledged they were wrong? All of that is valid. I keep thinking about the last 10 years. What we could have had if they'd just been brave enough to admit their mistake, if they'd reached out, if they'd tried. But they didn't, and you built an incredible life anyway, with or without them. With you. With me. Together. I pulled back, looked at him. They were wrong about you. So completely wrong. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. And you're the best thing that ever happened to me. Your parents missing out on knowing you these past 10 years, that's their loss, not yours. Over the next few weeks, I dealt with the estate, met with accountants, lawyers, business managers. The business is hers. The house is hers. She can sell them, keep them, do whatever she wishes. We trust her judgment in ways we failed to trust it when she was 25. To Alice, if you are reading this, we are sorry. So deeply sorry. We were wrong about James, wrong about your choices, wrong to make you choose. You were braver than we were, more loving, more principled. We hope this inheritance shows you that we recognized our mistake, even if we were too cowardly to say it while we were alive. We were proud of you, always. We just didn't know how to admit we were wrong. We hope you can forgive us, even though we don't deserve it. With love and regret, Mom and Dad. I set the letter down, tears streaming down my face, laughing and crying at the same time, because it was so typical, so perfectly them, too proud to apologize while alive, but trying to make it right through money, through an inheritance, through this formal, legal acknowledgement that they'd been wrong. Kevin was not laughing. This is bullshit. They left you everything because you cut them off? Because you chose some guy over family? That's rewarded? They left me everything because they realized they were wrong, Kevin. Read the letter. I read it. It's garbage. You don't get to abandon your family and then get rewarded for it. I didn't abandon them. They disowned me. There's a difference. Douglas cleared his throat. Mr. Chen, the will is legally binding. Your parents were of sound mind when they wrote it. There are no grounds for contest. I'll find grounds. I'll fight this. No way is she getting everything while I get $50,000. You can try, Douglas said calmly. But I should mention that your parents anticipated this possibility. There's a clause stating that if you contest the will, your $50,000 bequest is revoked entirely. You'll get nothing. Kevin stood up, threw his copy of the will on the table. This is insane! They're insane! And you, he pointed at me, you don't deserve any of this. He stormed out, slammed the door. Douglas looked at me sympathetically. Are you all right? I wiped my tears. Yeah, actually I am. It's a lot. But I'm okay. Your parents were very specific in their instructions. They wanted you to have everything. They felt they owed you this. How much is everything? He pulled out a financial statement. The house is worth approximately $2.1 million. The business is valued at $3.5 million. Investment accounts total $1.8 million. Various other assets bring the total estate to roughly $7.8 million. I nearly fell out of my chair. $7.8 million? Yes. After taxes and fees, you'll inherit approximately $6.2 million, plus the business, which generates about $400,000 in annual profit. My parents had left me over $6 million and a profitable business, everything they'd built. There's one more thing, Douglas said. He pulled out a small box. Your mother wanted you to have this specifically. I opened it. Inside was a jade bracelet. Her jade bracelet. The one her mother had given her, the one she'd promised me when I was a little girl. A note was tucked inside. For Alice, you were always meant to have this. I'm sorry I waited so long to give it to you. Wear it and remember that I loved you, even when I was too proud to show it. Mom. I burst into tears, full, ugly sobbing, for the parents I'd lost, for the 10 years we'd wasted, for the apology that came too late, but also for the recognition, the acknowledgement that I'd been right, that my choices had been valid, that I'd built something beautiful, even without their support. I drove home in a daze, walked into my house, found James cooking dinner. How did it go? I just handed him the will, the letter, watched his face as he read. Holy shit, Alice. Yeah. They left you everything. Yeah. And they apologized. In their way. Yeah. He pulled me into his arms. How are you feeling? I don't know. Vindicated? Sad? Angry that they waited until they were dead to say this? Relieved that they finally acknowledged they were wrong? All of that is valid. I keep thinking about the last 10 years, what we could have had if they'd just been brave enough to admit their mistake, if they'd reached out, if they'd tried. But they didn't, and you built an incredible life anyway, with or without them. With you. With me. Together. I pulled back, looked at him. They were wrong about you, so completely wrong. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. And you're the best thing that ever happened to me. Your parents missing out on knowing you these past 10 years, that's their loss, not yours. Over the next few weeks, I dealt with the estate, met with accountants, lawyers, business managers. The business was successful, well run. My parents had built something impressive. The manager offered to buy it from me for $3.2 million, fair market value. I accepted. The house needed to be sold. I couldn't imagine living there. Too many memories, too much history. It sold in 3 days for $2.3 million. San Francisco real estate is insane. After everything was settled, after taxes and fees and sales, I had approximately $8.1 million in liquid assets. $8 million. From parents who'd disowned me for marrying the man I loved. Kevin tried to contest the will. His lawyer told him he had no case. He dropped it when he realized he'd lose his $50,000 if he continued. He sent me one text. I hope you're happy. You destroyed our family and got rewarded for it. I didn't respond. There was nothing to say. Kevin would never understand that I didn't destroy our family. Our parents' racism did. Their inability to accept my choices did. I donated $1 million to immigrant rights organizations, another $1 million to civil rights groups. Money that came from my parents' business, built on importing goods from Asia, going to help the communities I dedicated my life to serving. The irony was not lost on me. James and I discussed what to do with the rest. We didn't need $8 million. Our combined income was already more than enough. What do you want to do? He asked. I want to start a foundation for kids who get disowned by their families for who they love, LGBTQ kids, interracial couples, anyone who chooses love over conditional acceptance, scholarships, support services, emergency housing, all of it. That's perfect. We established the Chen Williams Foundation, named after both our families, funded with $5 million. The returns on that money fund scholarships and support services for hundreds of young people every year. Kids who are exactly where I was 10 years ago, choosing love, losing family, needing support. We kept the rest for ourselves, bought a bigger house, set up college funds for the kids we hope to have someday, invested for retirement, and I wear my mother's jade bracelet every day. A reminder of complicated love, of parents who were wrong but eventually recognized it, of the high cost of prejudice, of the power of choosing yourself. 6 months after the will reading, Kevin showed up at my office, unannounced, looking exhausted. "We need to talk." I considered refusing, sending him away, but curiosity won. "Okay, talk." He sat down, looked around my office, awards on the walls, photos from congressional testimony, evidence of the life I'd built. "I was wrong," he said quietly, "about everything." "Okay. I've been thinking about Mom and Dad's letter, about the last 10 years, about how I treated you. And I was wrong. I chose their approval over my sister. I let their racism become my racism. I convinced myself you were the problem when you were the bravest one of all of us." I didn't respond, just waited. "My wife and I are having problems. She wants our son to marry someone Chinese when he grows up. She made a comment about not wanting black grandchildren, and I heard myself defending her, using the same arguments Mom and Dad used with you. And it made you think. It made me realize I've become exactly like them, letting prejudice and tradition dictate love, and I don't want to be that person anymore." "So why are you here?" "To apologize, to ask if there's any chance we can rebuild our relationship. I know I don't deserve it. I know I sided with them when I should have sided with you. But you're my sister, and I miss you." I studied him, looking for sincerity, for genuine change. I saw it, tentative, fragile, but real. "I don't forgive you. Not yet. You chose their racism over my happiness. That doesn't just go away because you apologize." "I know. But I'm willing to try. Coffee once a month. We talk. We see if this can be rebuilt. No promises." His face lit up with hope. "Really?" "One chance, Kevin. You revert to the old thinking. We're done. Forever. Understand?" "I understand. Thank you, Alice. Thank you for even considering it." "Don't thank me yet. This is going to take work. A lot of work." "I know. I'm willing to do it." We've met for coffee 3 times now. He's met James properly, apologized to him directly, started examining his own biases. He told me about our parents' last years, how they followed my career obsessively, read every article, watched every speech, kept a scrapbook of my accomplishments that they never showed anyone. How my mother cried every year on my birthday. How my father would get quiet around the holidays, staring at old photos of us as kids. How they wanted to reach out but never found the courage. Pride and shame creating an insurmountable wall. "They died in that car accident on the way to your office," Kevin told me. "What?" "They were driving to see you, finally ready to apologize in person. They'd been rehearsing for weeks. Dad had a whole speech written down. They were 5 minutes from your building when the truck ran the red light." I felt my chest tighten. They'd been coming to see me. After 10 years, they were finally ready, and they died before they could get there. "Did they suffer?" "No, it was instant. They didn't feel anything." Small comfort, but comfort nonetheless. That was a year ago. Today, I'm sitting in my office. The Chen Williams Foundation has helped 247 young people this year. Scholarships, counseling, emergency support, kids who were disowned for being gay, for being trans, for loving someone their parents didn't approve of, for choosing themselves over conformity. Every single one of them gets a personal letter from me telling them they're not alone, that choosing love takes courage, that their family's rejection says nothing about their worth. Kevin and I have lunch every few weeks now. We're rebuilding, slowly, carefully. It's not what we had as kids, but it's something real. He's in therapy, working through his own biases. His marriage is struggling, but he's fighting for it, trying to be better. James and I are talking about starting a family, using some of that inheritance money to take parental leave, to give our kids the unconditional love my parents couldn't give me. I think about them often, about the letter they wrote, about the bracelet on my wrist, about the courage they found too late. I forgive them, not because they earned it, but because holding on to anger only hurt me. They were products of their generation, their culture, their fears. They were wrong, but they recognized it eventually. That has to count for something. I'm Alice Chen Williams. I'm 35 years old. 10 years ago, my parents disowned me for marrying a black man. They told me I was dead to them, cut me off completely. I built a life without them, a beautiful, meaningful, successful life. Proved that I didn't need their approval to thrive. When they died, they left me everything: their business, their house, their fortune, and a letter apologizing for their mistake. It was too late for reconciliation, but it wasn't too late for me to use their money to help others facing the same choice I faced: love or family, authenticity or acceptance. I chose love, and I won. Not because of the inheritance, but because I learned that loving yourself, choosing yourself, being yourself, that's worth more than any amount of money or family approval. If you're facing an impossible choice between who you love and who your family wants you to be, remember this: choose love. Choose authenticity. Choose yourself. The people who truly love you will find their way back. And if they don't, you'll build a new family, a chosen family, one based on acceptance instead of conditions. That's worth everything. That's worth the world. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Your support truly means the world to me. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. I love reading every single one of them. Each comment inspires me to keep creating stories for you. See you next time.